comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Vixen and Blitzen and all his reindeers pulling on the reins. Bells are ringing, children sing, and all is merry and bright. So hang your stockings and say your prayers, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He's got a bag that's filled with toys for boys and girls again. Hear those sleigh bells jingle, jangle, oh, what a beautiful sight. So jump in bed and cover your head, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight.
Good evening, SRA Nation and race fans, to Division 2's rendition of Season 5, Round 5 at Snetterton. I'm joined by the GOAT, Evan Kim.
Hello, hello. Good to be back. Good to see you, Doug.
Glad to be here. It has been a hot minute since the dream team of Evan and myself have been partnered together in covering, and I'm taking a brief stint away from covering D6 content to cover D2 this week. So I'm excited to see what the second fastest division in SRA can muster up tonight, and looking forward to see some great racing. How about you?
Yeah, I'll tell you, you missed some good ones in the last few weeks. These guys have been really throwing down good battles at every track we've been on this season. So, Snetterton, not a track known for easy passing. We're gonna have to see some guys get their elbows out tonight, I'm sure, but should make for a great race. I got a lot of confidence in these guys. Just looking at the times and practice for warm up, there were some heaters being thrown down faster than you and myself. So
That's not too hard,
uh,
is it?
no, it's not. But no, I'm expecting to see some good racing tonight. I'm excited.
Good. Well, what I can tell you is that we're already getting some love in the chat. Mateo, Dougie and Evan tonight gonna make Shitterton bearable. Well, I think it goes without saying, Evan, that the community, ACC community as a whole, just has this immense displeasure towards this British gem. So, myself included. But speaking of which, let's show this gem. Here is Snetterton, and it is a very oddly shaped track. In my opinion, if you twist it counterclockwise one time, it kind of looks like an alien, kind of like with the head, and then like kind of dragging its long arms there. It's kind of weird looking. What do you think?
See that.
Yeah,
Like a little gorilla alien.
yeah, exactly. I'm thinking like an ET type of look. You know what I'm saying?
ET gorilla.
Yeah, man, I get it. Patch O'Houlihan asking for Evan's thighs. Not tonight, but stay tuned. It's only we're already halfway through this season, believe it or not. That means that the season 6 reveal streams will be kicking off. I guarantee you there'll be some thighs there.
That and patches, I'll tell you, my DMs are always open 24/7, so feel free. I got some payment plans we can work out, and I'm here for you if you're here for me. So
What's not to like? I mean, you can't really ask for more than a direct line to some high quality content there. That being said, let's get back to the track here. 3 sectors of pure, unadulterated carnage. Sector 1, high-speed right-hander of turn 1 into a tight hairpin of turn 2. So you're flowing with traffic, trying to keep the car on track, and then slamming on your brakes. Punterinos engaged all night long, I promise you. And then into a tricky infield section of 4, 5, 6, and 7, where basically you're trying to abuse track limits as much as possible, keeping the car flirting with disaster by touching the grass. And several instances where you have to be very patient on the throttle because the apexes are long and slow. Then you get into sector 3 where you have arguably the most scary turning sequence in ACC of 8 and 9, where you're going from full beans on the straight there to turning and braking simultaneously. And I don't know if you understand physics, Evan, in the car, but if you're asking your tires to turn and slow down at the same time, they tend to not want to do that.
yeah, it gets real slidey through there, and it's definitely a pucker every time. And especially if you're following a car real close, it's pretty dangerous. So need a lot of caution through there for sure.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't inspire confidence, to say the least. And then you have turns 10 and 11, which are flirting again with just your tires squealing your entire time. Front left is begging for mercy at this point. More braking while turning into 12, which is a very sharp left-hander over a precariously placed sausage curb. If you hit that thing poorly, you're going to the bin. And then you start a whole nother lap, and you beg for mercy for another minute and 40 seconds, minute 45 seconds or so. So you're crying, in other words. But let's see some of our drivers that are going to be putting on a show this evening. Here are Division 2's driver standings, with Paul Kreska at the helm with 232 points, Alex Chilcutt in second place, and Damiani, crowd favorite, tied technically for second place with 209. So Russell Allen, a D1 Transplant to D2, making his presence known with 205, just lurking outside of the podium there. And then Taylor Molyneux, another crowd favorite, common voice of our SRA streams with 200, rounding out the top 5. It's same with Colin Shea, of commentating voice here in the league. So, and Bailey Kish, and oh, D2's got all my favorite people, Evan.
A lot of staff in there. We definitely appreciate the guys that spend some extra time on making this all work. So good to see those guys also putting it on the track. So just looking at this, Kreska's got a little bit of a gap, but it's tiny. And then everybody below him is just fish in a barrel. I mean, there will be leapfrogs on the standings after tonight for sure.
Well, correct me if I must be wrong, because Michael Jeffries is on here too. He's saying that these are wrong. So these standings might not even be updated. So we will forfeit looking at them any further. But what I can tell you is that Jeffries should know, because he's in this list too. So if I'm going to trust him, as he's one of our data guys. So we will abandon this information. But just know that my heart goes out to all these drivers, because many of them are very active in the community, and we love you for it. So, speaking of these drivers, let's go see what they're doing on track. Hopefully we find them on track and not in the grass, am I right?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So, right now, we're on board with Landshark of Comic Racing, a Badman's brand, I might add. Just cruising around here, and on the back straight. Qualifying is 20 minutes long, Evan, and we're checking in at the 14-minute and 39-second mark here. And that means that our silver split of Division 2 has been busy at work, putting in a couple laps already. And as you see Landshark go off, they're very easy to do. Basically, these drivers are nearing the end of their time frame to put in a good lap. So they're running out of time, Evan.
Not much more to go, and let's see, Smalley currently sitting on top. I didn't catch his name in the practice server, but not a bad time. They're sitting at a 47.3.
No kidding. And trying to improve the time also. Naturally, you'd assume that that's what they're trying to do constantly, right? But
that is the goal.
What I can tell you is that they were just displaced by Dan Cran also. So Dan, and then just displaced by LF. So the times are a change in here, as our gold drivers are patiently waiting in the pits to see what they can provide us with. But yeah, Dan Cran was on provisional pole in his hot pink Lexus, and now finds himself in P2 with a 147.2. A driver with a almost 7/10 gap over them is LF in the other Lexus. So these two drivers, teammates, sitting in P1 and P2 at the moment. That is pretty juicy.
What you like to see, get out there early, stick down a good one, and if you can start side by side with your teammate, that makes for easier defending for sure, as me and you saw just last night. Well, I should say you were holding it down in the front, and we made it real tough on the guys behind us to get past, especially at a track like this.
I think what you meant to say was holding the lap times down, because I was leading a train and slowing everybody down. But this track is notoriously difficult to pass at, as we will witness tonight. Only a handful of people that are extremely brave can get it done. And as we say that, Smalley does take back a provisional pole from the two Lexus boys there, making their presence known, but only by a thin margin. So I imagine that they're going to be fighting over that. As we see Doug Lee of Ghost Rider Racing Twilight snag P3 for the time being. So everyone's fighting over these top spots, and it's good to see a really tight tolerance here. I'm excited to see how close this grid gets.
I'm interested to see what kind of oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Coach Drone was in chat right now saying John Crown with the fastest lap on the leaderboard. And he's asking if can he do it again. So Crown is going to be in the gold split, which will be released from the pits like a bunch of wild dogs in 1 minute and 20 seconds. So keep a lookout for that. Let's find a driver that's on a burning of a lap. Robbie Toddy, are you on board with Robbie Toddy also?
I'm on with his teammate Ron Flo.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say those cars look pretty similar, but yeah, right now he was on a 4/10 improvement, and it dropped down a couple tenths, but now just in that one corner, back up to 4/10 again. So cruising. Michael Jeffries is in the chat too. You're about to qualify. Get out there, get your head on straight, go put in a great performance, and we'll be sure to ride along with you for your qualifying lap to really put the pressure on. Show us how it's done.
Jeffries did have the fastest lap in the practice session that I saw, and he had a healthy margin over the rest of the field, so I'm interested to see if he can repeat that lap he put down and put it on pole tonight. We're always rooting for Michael. But with the 10-minute qualifying, you don't get that many shots. He's got to prove he's consistent with that pace.
Yeah, and this track eats alive your front tires. So if you mess up a lap, it's hard to get your tires back in a good spot to where you're feeling comfortable again. Someone in chat's asking about Molyneux. Molyneux is actually in the gold split, so he will be leaving the pits now. As you see, the whole sequence of cars doing so. There they go. There they go. But back on board with the driver who is still setting a lap is Curtis Lee in another Lexus, a popular car choice in Division 2, which I love to see. This thing sounds amazing. Listen to this thing. Sheesh. Sounds good, brother. Yeah, he's doing all right. He was up a couple tenths and lost the time. Not going to find any more time going off track like that, which is unfortunate. Smalley was able to hold on to P1 provisionally right now for the silver split. LF in P2, but Dan Cran is improving a couple tenths, but the margin between P2 and P3 is 6 tenths at the moment. So basically P1 and P2 are looking like they have gold pace, and the rest of the grid is right in line with one another.
I am very interested to see what kind of times these gold guys throw down. I think you might have missed it last week with the Misano race. The rain actually got heavier in the second half of quali, so the gold drivers had worse conditions to drive in, and because of that, the silver drivers were just like a zipper with the gold drivers, where silver actually put down the fastest laps, and the rest of the field was just all mixed up with people you wouldn't expect to be next to each other. So
interesting.
Made it really interesting. But this race, more normal conditions. We're in the dry, we're in the sun. I'd expect these gold guys to be putting down times close to those low 46s. If we see somebody pop into those 45s, it's going to be something really special for sure. We'll see here. Everybody's starting up their hot laps.
We're on board with Jeffries as promised, and he's cruising around here. As you see the advertisement for Coach Jeffries Academy, he has made his predictions for this week. I didn't catch them, but he was feeling pretty good about them. If you're interested to find out how the conglomerates are doing, CGA does have a great series of data posted to see if your conglomerate's stacking up against your competitors.
Took a look at that website that Jeffries put together, and for a while there, the Badmans were top dogs in average points for each finisher. Unfortunately, I think we lost that spot. And I can't remember who it was. Was it what is their name?
Blind Hen's doing quite well.
Blind Hen's good. I know Ghost Rider was doing good. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is the fight for the conglomerate battles is also very close. So if you want to stay updated with that, go find Coach Jeffrey's Academy. He's got all the detailed stats on conglomerate standings. Just also really interesting. It adds another kind of team factor to the league that makes it really fun.
Yeah, it's looking good for sure. I am hemorrhaging some frames here, so I'm going to stop showing the chat. So I'm going to need you to dial that in for me, if you don't mind.
Got you dialed.
Thank you, buddy. I'm hoping that that can fix us here. Because Lord knows Google Chrome loves to suck up resources. It's unbelievable. All right. We are back in business now. And we're on board with Carl Fredrickson. And he is cruising. He had a 1 second improvement earlier and has set his lap in good enough for P24. We were on board with Taylor Molyneux, who was previously getting some love from the chat, finding himself in P19. And the aforementioned John Crown, who goes off right now, a little bit of commentator's curse there, was expected to set pole by some people in chat. So right now sitting in P13 with an invalidated lap. That's not a good place to be with only 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. But right now, Evan, we're crossing the start-finish line with John Crown, the supposed pole lap to be. Let's take a look at what their lap looks like. Here's a sweeping turn 1 to the right. Stay off the curb, stay out of the grass, does so well. Hard braking zone for turn 2. Tight apex if you can. Cruising down to turn 3, which is a patient left-hander. Patient, and then on the power on the way out. So short straight here into turn 4, which this is a hard braking zone. Another tight hairpin. Whoever designed this track loved tight corners. Probably didn't have a lot of real estate to work with. Sweeping corner here as John elects to touch the grass a little bit, which desperately negates his turn in there and invalidates his lap. So we're going to keep watching, though. Sweeping corner to the straight. Make sure you have a good exit, otherwise you're going to be hemorrhaging time the whole way down here. And collect yourself, because we have a scary bit here. Braking while turning left. Nice and smooth from John. Nice job. Over the apex. Power down. Right-hander, you could really go down into that dip to get some extra traction. And then your front left is screaming as you're fighting the car to turn right at speed here. Yep, patient, patient. Hard braking for the last corner. Missed that giant sausage on the inside, and then keep turning and burning for another lap. But that was a lap around Snetterton. On board with Bailey Kish now, who finds himself in P6 at the moment, which is a respectable place to be. Was up a bit on their time, now only a marginal improvement at best. Yeah, 1/10, actually losing time with a poor exit out of the final corner. Only managed to improve by 200ths, which is not going to earn them much. But a good performance, still got plenty of time to lay down the law and show their prowess on track. Who are you looking at, Evan?
Looking at Holly Hartman in the 48 Aston Martin, and looking at the back of his car, he put some trolley stuff on there. Let's see if I can catch this. There's bye Badmans on the rear bumper in these like bones font.
That's bizarre. It's probably he's saying bye-bye as our teammates drive away from him because he's so slow.
Right, as you're passing him, you can
Yep.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Oh, Paulie, nice gesture to opposing conglomerates there. I didn't think you had it in you. The Champion Motorsports team is usually quite toxic, so that's a nice gesture there, buddy.
Yeah, for once they did something good for us.
I think you'd argue that it's got a different intent, but hey, perception is reality. Speaking of which, we have Jeffries and in the distance you saw Boardman, both Badman's drivers in the Nightmare Before Christmas AMR. Jeffries in P4, Boardman in P11. So nice job from the group there. Mert Michi of Comic Racing, a Badman's brand, finding themselves in P3 at the moment, which is very good, and already finding a 10th just through one corner alone. 2/10ths now through turns 2. If they average a 10th per corner, they're going to be looking really good, Evan.
Yeah, that's got to feel really good looking at that Delta, just eating it up.
With the current time that they have, that would put them on pole. So let's see if Mert can manage to eke out any more time and finish the lap clean, and that will put them on top. But as we say that, Smalley and LF were in the silver split, still holding down P1 and P2. Can you believe that?
I'm very surprised, but those are really good times and definitely tough to beat. It's a lot of talent in this division. I'm surprised none of our gold guys have been able to snipe him down.
You know, Michi's looking like the one to do it. Jeffries has a big improvement also and might be able to capitalize. But these are the final laps for our drivers. As you see at the top, qualifying has expired. Drivers are allowed to finish their laps, but you can't start a new one. So this is your last shot here. Michi looks like he's got it in the bag. As long as no one in front messes anything up. Michi patient on the throttle. Poor exit on the last corner, but I think he's got enough.
I think he does.
Mert P1. You'll love to see it. The pressure was on. That was the final lap of qualifying for them, and they just stuck it on pole. What's not to like?
A good feeling. Here comes Molyneux from P13 to P6.
Very nice. And teammate Bailey Kish here finishing their lap with a 2/10 improvement, going to improve them up to P5. So nice job there. The grid is looking pretty mixed up, but yes, Smalley and LF managed to keep it P2 and P3 after all said and done. Well done.
Yeah, good stuff from them. I know that Honda is pretty fast around here. Seemed like those guys were cruising last night. But to see Alexis up in the podium spots right now after qualifying, that's impressive. I wouldn't expect Alexis to be the car to pick here on such a tight, narrow track. But Lud F making it work for him.
Not a bad thing. All right, Evan. While I do a brief little overview of all the liveries in this beautiful division here as we zoom past them. How's chat looking?
A little love for CJ and Badmans from Coadromo. Patches says D2 tightest division, 1.3 seconds between first and 23rd.
That's pretty tight.
Ghost Rider Racing is getting a lot of chats here. Bendy Brew getting shouted out. Those Ghost Rider boys definitely put it together there at the last lap.
No kidding. This season's liveries have come out in absolute style. Our theme for this season was holidays, and you can see many different renditions of that. And the artistry in this league never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, this season's definitely been the best one yet in terms of art quality for sure. Last season with the retro theme was a banger, but I think this one tops it for sure. A lot of participation from everybody putting the custom liveries together and sharing them. Yeah, seeing a grid full of these cars is pretty sweet. Kudos to all the artists in the league. There are many of you, and you are all incredible.
Yeah, no kidding. And after that brief little expose on the liveries, the session is starting here. We have how many people on the grid tonight? There are
Like
37.
37.
Yep,
3 of them are in the pit lane right now. Are those from penalties from accrued penalty points?
I know 65 and 115 needed to be in the pits. I'm not sure about 128 Kevin Kovac. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I read in the chat that Alatufo, his teammate, was saying that Kevin was having some wheel problems. So I don't know if that's just because Kevin couldn't qualify, but yeah, tough to say the least. Tough.
Well, I will say from experience, last night I started second to last on the grid and still ended up fine. There will be carnage and people will go off into the grass. There will be freebies to gain. Just gotta run your own race and make it work. It's not the end of the world being back there, to be honest.
Just gotta stay patient, man. I can't tell you how many times it was a coin flip on whether or not you're going to make a corner or not from the traffic backing up.
Oh yeah, those first few laps with everybody braking early, you got to be real prepared here. The cornering speeds at some of these hairpins is so low. Those braking points get pushed back crazy far with the more and more traffic there is.
Yeah, it's brutal. Brutal indeed. As we see a beautiful shot of the grandstands. Thank you, cameraman. There we go. All right, Evan, you're looking at the grid here. Who do you think is going to take the dub tonight?
I'm going with Alexis. Lud F sitting in P3. I think he's got it in him. Something about perseverance through using that car and still being fast in it. He's definitely got some talent behind that wheel.
I respect that.
What about you, Doug? Who are you thinking?
I'm thinking that it's hard to say because I'm not too familiar with these drivers because I'm not here all the time, but it's hard not to go with Michi because they set the best lap, and frankly speaking, they're in a BMW, which is very stable. I'm looking at the cars that are up alongside them here, a Honda, an Audi. Lexus is stable, but I think Michi's got more pace. So I think a lot of the mid-engine cars are going to struggle. They're going to have moments off track like we saw a lot during qualifying. I think it's going to be tough 60 minutes. I think Michi takes it.
That's a good pick. That BMW's got crazy good brakes, which is really helpful here with all the hard braking zones coming into those slower speed corners.
No doubt.
And it's definitely a stable car too. You're right about that. The only issue I ever had with it was the on throttle oversteer when you first get on it. But if you're able to kind of roll into it, that car is great.
Couldn't agree more. That and the chat was saying that Crown is a force to be reckoned with. Starting in P11, someone to watch out for as they surge through the field, to say the least. But we are about to go green. There we are. Off and away with SRA, going side by side. No one electing to go 3 wide quite yet. A little bit of argy-bargy into turn 1, but everyone makes it. But turn 2 is where the sketchy bit happens. Hard braking. Let's see if people can manage. We already have a yellow flag fire case that will be taken out. side-by-side action through. I see some cars bumping and grinding away as we go back the grid. Everyone's still alive, which is great to see. People trading places. Michael Jeffries loses a position to Bailey Kish as they go side by side. The three leaders, excuse me, maintaining the same exact positioning as they go. Molyneux capturing a position from Gardner. Boardman able to get past previously mentioned Crown. Russell Allen and Colin Shea both best Fredrickson. But everyone's now slotting in. No more side-by-side action at the moment. A little bit further back we do, though. Peter Reynolds overtaking Flo as we see a whole gaggle of cars in the corner behind, slowing down side-by-side action. It's crazy tight amongst these drivers here as they funnel onto the back straight. Some cars going off, maintaining position. Oh boy, we have a Mercedes backwards. Keeps it out.
I don't know how do you end up that way?
We're looking here. On the grass, on the grass.
Oh, little grass.
Oh, luckily everyone was able to avoid them, but that was a hard impact into the wall. My goodness.
Huge. Catastrophic.
Absolute anarchy. We're back on the grid. Peter Reynolds yellow flag. Pick that up if you don't mind while I go back to the front here as we have the leaders still in the same order they started in. Michi, LF, Smalley, Bailey Kish improves over Jeffries. But
the car just snapped on him.
Is that right? Man,
through the long right-hander, it just broke loose and jetted out into the grass. That looked very strange. Might have just been the cold tires.
Yeah, a setup problem. Most likely a suspension snap like that. Back further, we have P7 back through like what is P12, a massive train at the moment. As you can see all the cars filing through here. You were not kidding when you said D2 is the tightest division we have here. They are all over each other.
Yep.
So we hear the beautiful Lexus of Austin Gardner here. You can see over his back wing. You can literally reach out and touch about 10 cars that are right behind him. My goodness. Further back, Jason Allen able to capitalize on Fredrickson. But, yeah, these cars are all over each other. Evan, this is the part that we really didn't hone in too much on pre-race. 40-minute pit window, different than the typical 10-minute pit window that we have here in SRA. So that's going to change up some strategies. What are you expecting from our drivers? Are you expecting a lot of them to dive in early?
I think that was the play last night. I went in pretty early just to get into clean air. I was battling there towards the back. Felt like I was getting stuck in traffic just a little bit. And after coming out and finding myself some open space to run my my race pace, I ended up making plenty of passes on those that decided to pit later on in the event. So there's something to be said about pitting earlier with the 40-minute window. I know the strat is usually wait until the very last second, but especially on a track like this, I feel like I've said that a million times already. Just the traffic here is so tough to drive in, and it backs your braking points up so much. Your pace is just off. So you need to find a way to find some clean air, be able to hit your marks without having to worry about cars in front or behind. So I'd expect plenty of our drivers to go in early tonight to answer it more succinctly. What did you do last night, Doug? I actually didn't even catch your strategy.
I was one of the first people in.
Okay, and it worked out great.
Basically, I think it allowed for me to get out in front of people, and because I was in front of them by undercutting them, they had the obligation of passing me, and I was just a brick wall all night.
Oh yeah. As
we see Fire Queso get past Pecheniak on the main straight here. Nice job. Good recovery from Fire Queso after having a moment early on. Everywhere on the grid, Evan, there are little battles with cars just a couple tenths off each other. I don't know where to put the camera right now.
It's tough. I just caught Robbie Toddy make a good move on Super Dave, getting a better run on that back straight. Now seems like it got a better run out of the final corner, making a gap on front straight here too.
Well, I expected Michi to run away with it a little bit, but LF keeping them honest in P2 with the fastest lap here. Respectful there, only 5/10 off the back of the leader. But after LF, Smalley is 2 seconds back already. So P1 and P2 are running away with it. Speaking of which, here is Smalley, Stephen Smalley here at P3. Right behind them is Bailey Kitsch. They are basically teammates, but without being teammates. Both in the Ghost Rider Racing conglomerate, so they have to be respectful of one another, is my guess. But I promise you, Michael Jeffries behind is not going to be playing any favorites. He's going to be trying to push as hard as he can to get that AMR ahead of all these Ghost Rider Racings he's flanked around. Look at them all. The purple and green reign supreme. As we see a big moment from Austin Gardner. Oh my goodness, I can't even catch him. He's falling down the order so fast. What in the world was that?
See if I can go back and catch this.
I got him. So you get in the first person view.
There it is.
Gets tagged a little bit. A big slide as he came through the shot. My goodness.
That spot is just so dangerous.
I think he got tagged a bit by the other pink Lexus. That was brutal. But when we came back to live time, he's back on track. His tires are probably cooking alive right now, but falls back in line at P21 in a train of cars. We have Al Latufo, and behind Al Latufo are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 drivers all within a second of each other. Can you believe that? Look at them all.
That is unbelievable.
They're just piling through like it's a formation lap. Landshark getting past Fickert. Nice move around this slow section there. Holding the position off. Fickert's not going away though, I promise you that. Into the braking zone here.
Oh my, Doug Lee with the moment. So I can catch this. Looks like the car just spat out from under him.
Rides
Oh,
the curb.
that exit curve.
Yep. That thing caught me by surprise a couple times last night, I promise you that. As we have another driver who had a moment. Was that still Doug Lee?
It might have been. I mean, he went flying off to the side.
Yeah, it looks like Doug Lee lost like 7 positions as a part of that train of cars that we're all looking at right now. If you make one mistake, you're getting passed by literally half the field.
For sure.
As we see Johnson and Watts going side by side. Johnson able to get the pass done in the hard braking zone at the end of the straight. Nice job. Another job done by Allen over M. Lee for P17. Gets the move done into the final sector and now tries to race away on the main straight here. But checking back in, we have Michi, who is your current race leader, being harassed by LF in the Lexus behind. It's actually kind of poetic. Both drivers electing to have this like kind of like seafoam green color for their cars. And the battle between which green car looks better continues here throughout the race. Like we have like a emerald, like a what is that? Evergreen green, like an evergreen color versus a seafoam green. So pretty, Evan.
It is pretty. I bet you Michi would argue his is looking better up there at the top spot.
As we see LF flashing him too.
Yeah, he is definitely under fire, that's for sure.
And keeping him honest. Further back, Smalley is 3 seconds behind at this point and has his teammate Bailey Kish, and Michael Jeffries in tow. And those drivers in their little gaggle are 2 seconds ahead of anyone else. So the grid is starting to narrow out at the beginning stint here. As we see 115, that is Lucas Clenzeris in the 115 car in last place, currently yellow flagged, alone in Sector 1.
Oh, no.
Not sure what that is. But you heard it, Evan. About a minute ago, the pit window's open already.
Jesus, that was fast.
Can you believe it? That's 10 minutes down the drain. And what I'm surprised to see is no one's in the pit. Why would you not?
Surprising me too.
Why
There's
would you
so much
not
traffic.
do it?
Yeah, get some space. Although maybe you're worried about coming out in front of the race leaders on the other side, having to deal with some serious pressure there.
Yeah, I'm on board with Lucas Clenzeris now. They were driving very slow, almost like on purpose. Not sure what's going on here. Yeah, really not sure.
I did just catch Felipe Botella came into the pits and actually doinked the wall pretty good.
Boy. Big oof there.
That pit entry is a strange one. It's like a little chicane, and the walls there are super tight and narrow. The brake marker or the pit limiter needs to be engaged is real early, so it can come up on you quick. I think he kind of spooked himself and came in a little hot.
No kidding. We saw Nate Roger have a little bit of an off while looking over the back of DJ Watts' wing there, but able to get the move done up the inside of Doug Lee. Doug Lee must be still nursing some damage or worn tires from his moment earlier in the race, because he's losing positions hand over fist, which is never a good place to be. Further up the grid, Jason Allen is applying some crazy pressure to Colin Shea. Jason Allen in his Plan E Coca-Cola themed Ferrari. Both these guys are veteran members of SRA. I would be very surprised with how close they are that if neither of them pit. You have to pit. Neither of them do.
Huh.
I guess they are part of the Ferrari team. They always are one for bad strategy, am I right?
Yeah, they really need a team. Oh, I see Fire Queso again with the moment.
Oh, there's a gaggle of yellow flags all together. Are you picking that up?
I'm getting Queso here. Looks like he just got loose under braking for the final corner.
Yeah, there was a whole mess of them. A whole mess of cars in the final corner there with yellow flag. Looks like DJ Watts, T. Johnson, and Fire Queso all together. Big yikes. Big yikes. We're on board with Al Latufo now, looking over the back of this beautiful livery that they have made for themselves, and under duress by Robbie Toddy, Super Dave, and Russell Allen, and Mike Lee, and Ron Flo. I keep saying "and" because they're all so close together. They have to pit, right? I mean, that's the strat. Pit. Get out of each other's way.
Yep.
What's Chad have to say about all these people not pitting? As you see the Porsche struggling against the power of the Mercedes down the straight, but able to hold them off.
Sparky 5937 says, I'm curious to see if anyone takes tires tonight. That's an interesting thought that I didn't think of. I know one BMW came flying past us in the second half of the race, Mr. Sir, and I learned later the reason why, well, I should say one of the reasons why, is because he took tires in his pit stop.
That explains a lot, actually.
He is definitely faster than us, but he just plowed past us like we were
standing still, man. He had mind-melting grip at the end of the race. I was like, how? What is this man doing to me?
Yeah, he definitely proved that taking tires might be the move here. Patches says, pit when you need it or build the gap to the people behind. Maybe that's their thought. Maybe they're more confident in trying to gap the guys behind them more so than try to undercut the guys in front.
I'm telling you, man, getting out of this traffic and having free air yesterday was the best decision I've made in a long time. It was so stressful racing this close, and I wanted to get the hell out of Dodge. And looking at the field, P1 through P23, not a single person has elected to pit yet. That blows my mind.
Very interesting.
I guess that would make sense, because if they pit, they'd be further back in the grid. Duh, Douglas. But that being said, I can look here. Time stopped. Only 6 people have elected to pit so far. 6.
Wow.
And no one took tires.
Huh. Okay.
The longest pit stop was 25 seconds from, as we see, who was that? Michael Jeffries able to get past the back marker there. I thought it was a move for a position, but it was not. That is P35 Petrovich giving up the spot for the leaders driving through here. Dan Cran getting past Molyneux. I don't know where to put the camera right now. We have Nick Wagner. Over the back is Eric Boardman and Jay Crown, who's the crowd's favorite to win tonight. So we'll see. Currently in P10. I'm pretty sure Crown started in P11.
He did.
Yep. Right now, your biggest winner is Colin Shea and Jason Allen together in sequence P11, P12, both up 8 positions. So they follow each other through the grid. Robbie Toddy up 9 positions. Teammate Ron Flo up 7 positions. Matt Morrison up 10 positions. We have some big losers, but most of them are those that have elected to pit. The only person that has not pit and has lost a heaping pile of positions is Fire Queso. You hate to see it. We tune back in with Robbie Toddy, who's been applying pressure to Ala Tufo for several laps now. Still hanging in there with managing a 3 to 4/10 gap throughout the entirety of a lap. That is pressure like you've never seen it before. Evan, you know a thing or two about pressure from last night. What would you recommend to our drivers if they were listening right now about how to maintain a closed gap like this?
Break a little bit earlier than you would think you should. You could always close in the gap by easing off the brakes, but also you got to be worried about those guys behind you. Definitely keep an eye on your mirrors and see if anybody's thinking about making a move. The threat of a dive bomb is certainly there at a track like this. Like we said, it's going to take some gusto to get past anybody. You got to be looking for anybody that seems like they're showing signs that they're going to pop it up your inside on one of these corners.
Roger gets the move on Hartman into the braking zone of Sector 1. Nice job there. Caught a early, the last bit of the move done there. And as we tune back into live time, Roger is nursing about a second gap, already putting the gap on Paulie. So Paulie, you got some work to do. DJ Watts is tracking down Peter Reynolds as we just go down the grid of showing where the battles are. Everyone back behind Watts in P26 is in a world of their own, which I think is stemming from the idea that you pitted early, so you build yourself a gap.
Oh, another one. Super Dave. See if I can catch this.
And I'm looking at Russell Allen, who has his own moment, too. Another victim of that bumpy curb. And what are you looking at?
Yeah, Super Dave just caught a little bit of the inside curb on the entry to the bus stop chicane, and it just bounced his car off.
Yeah, no bueno there.
Losing a few spots there for Super Dave. Still going though and finding himself in front of his pack. Roger Hartman, Curtis Lee, and Matt Morrison.
Nice, yeah. Russell Allen had his moment, lost a position for it, but got right back on track and was able to keep on keeping on. We're tuning in to Smalley in P3 because Michi and LF still just hanging out at the top there, like everyone's none the wiser here. And Smalley is still nursing a very small gap to Kish and Jeffries behind. I have a strong feeling these drivers are going to be hanging out with each other for a large portion of the race tonight.
Sure seems that way. I mean, like you said, somebody's got to pit.
Make a move, you know? I mean, you got to mix it up. You've been following them behind them for like 22 minutes already. Change it up. That's what we're doing with this large pit window. People have been begging for it. As you see Cran in the background go off a little bit, shortening the gap to Molyneux. I'm telling you, man, people beg for a wider pit window, and they're not taking advantage of it.
Oh, you're right. I think it's a product of, especially at the top in D1, I've noticed the guys up front just are so consistent, they're never going to make a mistake that would give you an opening to let them by. So one of your only opportunities to make a pass is through strategy. And we opened up the window to 2/3 of the race. You got almost all race to mix up the strategy and get past these guys. And yeah, I'm shocked none of these guys are thinking about coming in.
Well, Boardman does take the bait. Maybe he's listening. He does elect to pit. Loses 6 or 7 positions for it, but I'm telling you, only person in the top 23 you can see has got a green box in P18 for Boardman. That's got to be a good feeling that you've pitted and you're still in P18. All the people in front of you still have to pit and waste that time.
For sure. And that's a good spot to come out in. I would expect Boardman to come out even further ahead than that once it all shakes out. I bet he's going to pass plenty of those guys that were in front of him just before he came in.
I hope so that he can prove us right. If not, it's Boardman's fault.
Oh, of course, yeah. Boardman just had a terrible outlap, or
he didn't execute the plan.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So get on it with Boardman. Get on it. Come on, Michael Jeffries. You're so close to these guys. Make a pit. Make a pit. Come on. Kish dives in. There we go. Kish feels the pressure, dives into the pit, and Jeffries is released. That's the point. That's strategic racing now. Kish was right on Smalley, and now Smalley has a little bit more breathing room. That's the point. Some would argue that it's more boring because people can leave the track and not battle on track, but this is the strategic element, the brain busting part of racing. We're checking back in here with P1 and P2 as Michi has lost all the gap that they had over LF and is now firmly planted on his booty.
LF also holding the fastest lap right now by 3/10 over Michi as well, so he's definitely got the pace over him.
That being said, though, both drivers are very consistent, lapping with only a couple, like maybe a half a second difference amongst each other each lap. Oh man, this is another scenario, Evan, where LF is now at this stage in the race. This sequence of strategy decisions needs to be: do I continue to apply pressure to Michi, or do I pit, give myself free air? Do I stop?
Gotta undercut, and especially for LF, there's a big purple thing up in the lap times there. He's got to know that he's the fastest driver on track.
Yes.
And Michi's holding him up.
I'm telling you, pit and get the hell out of there so you can start lapping faster than your competitor. And guess what? We're about halfway through the race. It's not like you're going to be pitting in much different position than you would in a normal 10-minute pit window. So your strategy's going to be the same. Car's going to feel the same. Get after it. Maybe he wants to pressure Michi into making a mistake. But again, like you hinted at earlier, the drivers at the top don't tend to make mistakes very often. We'll check in with these two later as we hope that something changes in the near future. But as it stands, there's some work that needs to be done.
Sure, and here comes Colin Shea on Peter Reynolds. Thinking about the outside into turn 1.
Who's that on the off the track?
Looks like that was Pencheniak.
Got it. Yikes. That was scary, huh?
Yeah, that's not a spot you want to be there.
Yeah, Pencheniak lost both positions to Reynolds and Shea being that wide. I'm on board with John Crown, who has made it up to P8 at the moment, putting some pressure on Wagner in front. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, this stage in the race, you still have 23 minutes in the pit window. I'm going to keep harping on it. If you're tight in a battle and they're slowing you down, go pit.
Yep. So we see Colin Shea actually took a little trip through the grass for a second there, and that gap to Pencheniak closed right back up.
Scary stuff.
Got a special guest in chat that I haven't seen in a while. Jakey18, aka Jacob Wolfman, the Wolf Daddy.
DJ
says, hey,
Jacob
hey.
Wolfman?
Yeah, he says, hey, go SRA, go Curtis Lee and Matt Morrison, BBC. That is my boy forever and always. Jacob, if you're still here, I hope you make it back soon. We miss you.
I reached out to him the other day just to make sure that he was doing all right, and he said that he's working on some personal stuff right now, but he plans on making it back soon. So
let's go.
That made my heart swell at the thought of that. I was checking in for Wolfman. Lee and Morrison were right with one another for P21 and P20, and Morrison elects to pit to keep it out of Curtis's bumper. So now Curtis has the free air to attack Paulie Hartman without his teammate riding his bumper the whole time. It may be in Curtis's best interest to pit this lap too if Paulie is going to hold him up.
Here comes Kish on Super Dave, taking the inside of is that turn 4 or 5 there. Gets the move done, gonna have the inside again, and Super Dave concedes. Good move there from Kish, confidence descended up the inside.
And that's huge for Kish because Kish has pitted already. So any time that he makes up over his competitors fighting through the field is going to be huge later down the course of this race.
For sure. A little moment there on the exit to the back straight. Is it enough to keep Super Dave behind? Super Dave thinking inside now. Dangerous spot, backs out. Smart thinking there.
Kish parks it on the apex.
Like you said, Kish now has 4.5 seconds to the car ahead of him. So absolutely no worries about being held up unless Super Dave sticks it on him and puts the pressure on. But if he can pull away, he's in a great spot. Super Dave actually pulling off into the pits. So
he definitely sped in the pit lane. I just watched it happen.
No. He came in flashing the lights too.
He was trying to send a signal, and the stewards are going to send one right back at him. I promise you that.
Oh boy. All right, well, we'll be looking for that here in just a couple seconds.
Yeah, not ideal to say the least. Further up the grid, Dan Cran in one of the many Lexuses on our, would you call them Lexuses or Lexi? Or just Lexus?
We had this conversation last week. I think we landed on Lexi.
I hate that.
I do too.
I hate that so much. The expensive Toyota is putting some crazy pressure on Michael Jeffries now. neither of which have pitted, you have to ask yourself, at what point do you pit? I'm going to keep saying it.
The answer is now.
Smart. Smart.
Better answer is, what, 20 minutes ago.
So Super Dave is left the pits already and doesn't have a penalty, so he must have just barely avoided it. I was on board and he was slamming on the brakes, locking up to slow down sufficiently. So good on him for basically getting by the skin of his teeth. Evan, anything in chat? Oh, we have a moment by Colin Shea.
Absolutely massive.
I'm going 15 seconds back. What happened here?
Just a little bit of grass, it looks like.
Just McLaren things, man.
Can't turn there, that's for sure.
Yep, just McLaren things. That sucks. But champion motorsports driver gets caught up by the grass there. You hate to see it. But Colin Shea has pitted, and you can see there's a gaggle of cars in front that are very close that have yet to pit, so going to be gaining quite a few positions in the near future. Curtis Lee putting some massive pressure on Paul A. Hartman. Is that who you're on right now too?
Yeah, I'm going to go in Curtis' car here. He is just all over Hartman, who I talked to before the race. Hartman said he has not practiced much this week. It was real busy for him. So, not the spot you want to be with no practice. He is under a ton of pressure here from Curtis.
Well, we'll give him some spotlight here. Champion Motorsports branding right in the middle of your screen. I'd love to see Curtis Lee pass the Championship Motorsports. Come on, Lexus, bring that power.
Holding in there at the end of the straight, but just not quite enough before they got to the braking zone.
Neither driver has pitted yet. And we said last lap, one of them's bound to.
Yeah, Curtis might be thinking about it now.
Man, Robbie Toddy was dummy close to Al Latufo up the main straight here into the sequence of Sector 1. Both drivers putting on a clinic right now of consistency. Robbie Toddy wants it bad. He wants it real bad. I'm surprised Curtis Lee did not pit. Still on the back of Paul A. Hartman.
I am also surprised. If you didn't pit right when the window opened, we are surprised.
Let it be known. If you walk away from Division 2 stream today saying anything other than the driver should have pit earlier, you haven't listened. Further back in the grid, we are looking over the wing of Landshark, and you can see 3 cars off in the distance here. We have Roger, Lee, and Dave, all in a little conga line here, keeping each other close. All the drivers here have pitted, so they're all racing for position now, and Landshark is going to be having some crazy pressure from Roger from behind here.
A little update up front. Dan Cran actually pitted while the rest of that pack stayed out. So finally coming to his senses there. Looks like he's coming out in P12. So not a lot of positions lost on track from his pit stop. Got to stay on top of the race here as it progresses with Smalley and Jeffries, who was in that 3-man pack for that final podium spot, P3.
I'm telling you, Dan Cran, Omega Brain. That's the play. I'm telling you. But what sucks for Dan is that he comes out right in the middle of the Al Latufo and Lee battle of like sequence of cars. There's 4 cars all within a second of each other. I'll show it to you here. This is where Dan Cran is located now. A gaggle of cars in the mid-pack now. But as you can see by the scoreboard, he's the only one in the top 12 that have pitted thus far. He's surrounded by everyone that has yet to pit, and they only have 14 minutes to pit left, so they're running out of time. Ideally, Dan, all the people around Dan have to bug off and go pit at some point, getting out of his way. That can be very good for him.
Catching up with Curtis Lee in his battle with Paulie Hartman. Looks like Curtis did come into the pits and came out P30 now, so have to keep an eye on that after Paulie comes out and see if Curtis was able to undercut him successfully or not.
Curtis is crossing his fingers and his toes, putting in a good outlap to see if he can make up some time over his competitor there. I checked back into Smalley of P3, nursing a 4/10 gap to Michael Jeffries. Michael Jeffries, pit now!
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation with Michael after the race. Got to give him some coaching to the coach on pit strategy here for sure.
Coach Jeffries Academy, maybe... I know he's a gambling man. Maybe he went to Vegas and he put on a crazy bet for the driver to pit last as himself. That's probably what it is. He's a gambling addict, you know.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that, but if that is true, then that definitely lines up.
Every week he's out here writing narratives, trying to get people to bet against him on who's going to finish what and where, and that's why he's crunching all the numbers on the back end with his seemingly innocent CGA setup. He's just collecting data, unbeknownst to all of our league members. Oh, Molyneux gets overtaken by Wagner as we are discussing a controversial topic of Michael Jeffries' sinister plotting. Molyneux goes wide, and Wagner able just to sneak it up the inside with that Lexus V8 power, baby. And Molyneux elects to pit. Molyneux's pit entry went much better than Monday's practice race. I can promise you that. You don't need to look into it any further than that. I don't want you to see a heinous crime that was committed by another driver. But Molyneux makes it in safely. Are you looking at this midfield battle with Cran, Latufo, and Robbie Toddy? So Cran was able to get past a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, and he's looking at Latufo now. Woo-wee! That was a little scary.
Yeah, and now he lost some momentum, so now Robbie Toddy's going to be coming back at him. Who's going to be... Oh, boy! Cran goes way deep. Robbie Toddy able to get it up the inside, but the next corner is a left-hander. Robbie Toddy...
You can get him with the up and under here and get a run on him.
Didn't happen, though, and now Robbie Toddy is also under duress from his teammate Flo behind, so they have to figure it out. But back up at the top, we have Michael Jeffries still putting some crazy pressure up the outside of Smalley here into this crazy corner sequence here. Pit, damn it, pit! It's not working! Pit! If you don't, I'll be very perturbed. Come on, Michael. Peel off to the left of my screen. You're right, technically. No! What have you done? What have you done, Evan? I'm going to have some fierce, strong words with this man afterwards.
Yeah.
Put your pride aside. You don't need to pass on track. Pass in the pits, damn it.
Yeah. There's really not even enough time at this point. Only, less than 10 minutes left in the pit window to even kind of stretch out that undercut effect.
It's now no longer an undercut effect. Now it's just a normal pit. You just have to hope that your outlap is just that much better, and that's a gamble that at this stage in the race is much less available.
Interesting strategy here. Toddy and Flo in those red, white, and blue Mercedes both pit together. So going for the double stack strategy here.
I can tell you that was not the move.
That is certainly unadvised.
Yeah. For those listening, you got a teammate. Do not pit at the same time. You want to separate yourselves on grid so you can help each other out. You don't want to be holding each other up. Much like what Evan and I did yesterday. We were helping each other out, basically managing a train for a better part of a race. It felt pretty good.
It was like moving chess pieces on the board. They were just lifeless. We were the controllers there, and it felt great.
Like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, my guy. Just big old chess pieces, and we're just moving rook to e5. You know what I'm saying? It's just we're making things happen.
Just easy as that.
Checkmate. On board with Michael Lee of the other ZDR boys, Mercedes here, and under duress from Gardner and Peter. Excuse me, I was looking the wrong way. Colin Shea and Robbie Toddy behind. So we're looking at this. Robbie Toddy and Flo entered the pits at the same time, did they not?
They did.
Now they were right next to each other, and now Robbie Toddy's 21st, and Ron Flo is in P27.
Flo must have like missed his box or had a little damage to repair.
Robbie Toddy stopped for 6 seconds. Flo stops for 15.
Oh man,
big yikes there. Super Dave, yellow flag, losing time. Double T of Matt Morrison able to get past, take P28. And Dustin Fickert elects to pit, losing several positions, but now's the time, I'm telling you. I am telling you. Okay. We're checking back in here. Michael Jeffries is still all over the back of Smalley. I'm going to flip my desk if he does not pit on this lap. Hear me out. Things will get broken.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
I'm trying to think what I can break that my wife will not be upset about me breaking. So that's the question. He better pit to spare me. Okay, thank goodness. Smalley goes in and spares my desk setup. Okay, thank goodness. Jeffries, you were lucky.
Interesting choice from Smalley there to go in ahead of Jeffries.
I agree, because Smalley in that situation's commanding the race. At that point, you're leading and you are holding up the driver that has clearly got more pace than you. That you're doing the wrong thing, Smalley, by allowing Jeffries to get out and get free air. So a lot of questionable strategy decisions tonight.
Despicable, not even questionable. Despicable.
Despicable. That's a strong word. As we see Lud F trying the over/under onto Michi. Oh my goodness, these drivers were previously 1 and 2, and now they're right on top of each other going down into the turns here. Oh my goodness, Michi still holding the advantage over LF.
Just barely. That was so close.
So close. These are your technically on-track P1, P2 because they have pit already, and Michael Jeffries and John Crown have yet to pit. But man, these guys have been duking it out like crazy. Are we missing anything in chat that we need to give attention?
Patches is recommending hit for wet tires. Say box, stay out. Question? We are checking.
There's a reason why Benito was fired, my guy. Taking advice from Patches O'Houlihan. That's the problem. What are you doing, bud? Those strats might work in D5, but not in D2. Lud F is flashing Michi, letting him know that He is a force to be reckoned with, and wants this position come hell or high water. Down the grid, we have Kish in P10. And on the back of Kish is Nick Wagner and Eric Boardman. Eric Boardman putting some pressure on the twosome in front here, saying, get out of my way, I got places to be. Ooh, so much momentum out of that corner. Al Latufo finally electing to pit. Was in P8, falls down the grid. Looks to lose several positions, at least 4. Paul A. Hartman has yet to pit also, and we were wanting to see where he came out in reference to Curtis Lee, so we'll see what that amounts to later. Peter Reynolds elects to pit. The LF and Michi battle has settled down. The gap is now 2.5 seconds, so LF has lost some spacing to Michi, but that's honestly probably at this stage in the race a good thing. You don't want to burn up your tires too much. You want to have one last big push to make the move happen at the end. Important to note though, Smalley in P7 has come out right behind Fredrickson, who has yet to pit. And if they're slowed down at all, Smalley is going to have a disadvantage to Jeffries, who stayed out when Smalley dove into the pits there.
Yeah, it seems like Jeffries actually gapped Smalley in their last lap by a 1/10.5 or so, so just slightly better on pace. It's going to be real close there on pit exit when Jeffries comes out.
Should be something spicy. And that's Fredrickson pitting, so that releases Smalley a little bit, so that's going to make the battle even more narrow. Boardman looks to be overdriving the AMR, trying to stay close here. What are you looking at?
Landshark with the little moment. Let's see if there was any contact from Roger behind or just the pressure of Roger there on the inside. A little scrub there, but Roger was already eating up that inside curb. Just 2 doesn't fit into 1, and Landshark pays the price, falling down to P30 now.
Keep on keeping on, my brother. Looks like Toddy was able to get past Latufo. Latufo's still fighting back, though. You're on board with Latufo now as you see the back bumper of Toddy ever so close. Man, you see that Porsche sliding. Did you see all this the inputs that Al had to do to keep that thing straight?
Fast hands there for sure.
Putting the moves in. As you see Fredrickson pulling in off the track.
This 3-way battle between Kish, Wagner, and Boardman is still going. They are bumper to bumper here, coming into the right-hand sweeper. Who can get the run on the front straight? Who's it going to be?
Oh, boy.
Oh, not quite. Boardman having a little moment there on that exit curb. Jumping in Wagner. Can he chase down that Audi?
Boardman has to be careful because Molyneux is getting dangerously close to him too, so he can't compromise his ability to attack and let somebody by. After 50 minutes of racing, these 4 cars are all on top of each other, fighting for P8. This is giving me Vietnam flashbacks to our race last night. We were definitely looking like Kish here. And that is the final pit call. DJ Watts, the last to pit. And that reminds me, Michael Jeffries is on track, and you know who's behind him? Smalley. He got the
Wow.
the move done. And I think that's all because Smalley elected to pit first.
Oh, no doubt. And certainly, as you said, questionable strategy there from Smalley coming in early. He had full control over Jeffries. Clearly, he wasn't getting by, but he just gifted him the opportunity and said, yeah, if you're faster, then go on ahead. Here's some fresh air for you.
Let's clarify one thing, because people are going to say, well, Doug and Evan, you were saying to pit earlier because that's better. Well, if you're faster than the person in front of you, you pit earlier, which is why we were begging Jeffries to go in. But
Yeah,
if you're slow,
behind,
yeah, if you're slower and you're holding up the people behind you, you stay out because you're clearly you're causing them a disadvantage, which is the whole point. Oh man, Kish is gonna have trouble into this next section here. One of these drivers has to do the over-under. Come on. They're doing great work here. Keeping it nice and tight.
They are very composed. I almost want to see Wagner throw a little fake shimmy down the inside. Maybe start trying to scare Kish a little bit, make him go defensive.
As you say that, Molyneux sticks his nose up the inside of Boardman and able to get up the inside, but then has to tuck back in behind as Boardman gets a better exit. But that does alleviate some pressure that Boardman was placing on Wagner, but he catches right back up. And Molyneux has a little bit of an off track, but maintains control of the car and stays right there. Further back, do you mind covering the battle between Gardner, Shea, and Lee? I got this one covered. Because those three are all on top of each other too, seemingly. Well, actually, Lee just lost a bunch of time to Colin Shea. So I don't know what happened.
Not sure. It's just Gardner and Shea here with a drag race down the back straight. Lexus will definitely have the advantage here, especially towards the end there. That top speed of the Lexus is hefty. Shea will have the advantage here on the sweeper. McLaren known for its great aerodynamics and downforce. See, he's already closing in the gap just a little bit to Gardner. Maximizing his exit there. Oh no, a yellow flag for Boardman and Molyneux.
I was not paying attention to that. I went on board to Peter Reynolds. Move done on T. Johnson. I'm going to go back to Molyneux and Boardman. We're going to go back 30 seconds, and we're going to take a gander here. What the hell happened, boys? All right, we're rounding turn 1. Heavy braking zone of turn 2. Molyneux, don't do it, buddy. Yep, clips the back of Boardman. Big oof. Molyneux parks it and says, come on down, buddy. I'm going to give the position back to you.
Good sportsmanship there from Molyneux, but now both of them have lost that pack with Wagner and Kish ahead.
Significantly. And speaking of which, Wagner is right up the back end of Kish here in the back straight. He has some overlap, but it's going to back out again. Rightfully so. But man, he's so close. So close to Kish. There's literally no gap to manage here. Wagner's got the pace.
Oh, certainly. Got to be careful here in this braking zone. Don't overcook it. Think about the exit. Opens it up nicely.
Oh, that was beautiful. Come on. The speed of this Audi, the setup that Kish and Molyneux are running right now are only good on the straights. Like, that's their main advantage. So if Wagner can get a good run in this infield section here, should be able to get a pass done. Obviously better on the brakes. As you see, Wagner's getting so close.
Every time in that hairpin, Wagner is just on his bumper.
This is one of the closest battles on grid at the moment. Your leader, Michi, is hanging around a 1 second gap to Lud F of P2. Michael Jeffries has gapped Smalley for P3 and P4 respectively. And then Cran and Crown, P5 and P6, 2.5 seconds apart. So the battles at the front of the grid are pretty much done, unless Lud F can pull a miracle a couple laps together before this race is buttoned up. What are you squeaking about?
Very confident move there from Landshark, trying to go up the inside of the hairpin on DJ Watts. DJ is going to have the inside here for turn 3. The Landshark's still there, hanging around the outside. Side by side in the braking zone for 4. DJ hugging it tight, and Landshark's got to back out. Good defense there from DJ. Great attempt there from Landshark. He's got something for DJ Watts. Only 3 minutes left in the race to get it done.
DJ Watts.
DJ Watts.
Wagner's still all over the back of Kish. Kish is struggling to keep him at bay.
Struggling, but hasn't broken yet. I'm telling you, Wagner's got to start doing some dance moves back there and get Kish distracted.
Holy hell! As soon as you say that, Nick Wagner almost plasters a fat one on the back of Kish. Able to send it up the inside to keep it out of the back of him. I want to see a replay. Oh my goodness gracious.
Dancing a little too hard there from Wagner, but let me tone that down just a little bit and it might be a little bit more effective.
Evan was suggesting you do like a tap dance, not like some crazy ballroom waltz or something, man. Nothing too complicated out here. Well, Nick Wagner's dreams of passing Kish have just evaporated because with only 1 lap to go, as you see, the leader, Michi, is crossing the line for what is going to be the last time before the end of this race. Right here. We are starting our final lap. So, drivers are running out of time. And that goes the same for Lud F. You see in the background here. Still about a second back. They're praying for a miracle right now to get this pass done.
Yeah, Michi's just got to stay calm. Only 1 more to go. No real pressure from Lud F behind. It's about a second back. You can kind of forget about your mirrors for a little bit and just focus ahead. Definitely not the case here for Jason Allen and Austin Gardner.
That's I'm on board with Jason Allen and Gardner is teammates with Wagner. Both gold Lexus are trying to put some crazy pressure on. Let's see if Gardner can get the move done that Wagner couldn't. And right behind Gardner is Colin Shea. He's looking at the back side of this expensive Toyota here.
Matt Double T Morrison looking up the inside of Al Latufo. Gets it done into turn 1.
My man. Al Latufo's not going to go quietly into the night. That Porsche is going to have an advantage in the infield there. As we see Jason Allen go off a little bit, losing some momentum. Gardner closes the gap. It is very close between these 3 here. My goodness.
Gonna take something heroic to get anything done here.
The leader has finished the race.
And just like that, Michi ahead of LF for your race win. Michael Jeffries crossing the line for P3. Nice job. Smalley swiftly behind for P4. Dan Cran for P5. crown for P6. Nice job, everybody. Bailey Kish able to hold off the people behind for P7. Wagner for P8. Boardman for P9. Molyneux P10. And then here comes the grouping here that we were following earlier. Allen able to keep position for P11. Gardner for P12. And Colin Shea, my goodness, it's bouncing around, for P13. Nice job. Lee finishes for P14. Fredrickson, P15. My board's going nuts right now, Evan.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. The game does not know what it's doing. But the Fredrickson was P15. We already have people leaving the race, so I love when they do that because it messes up everything. Here's your order, folks. There you go. On the back straight here, we still have drivers battling for it. We had Peter Reynolds putting some pressure on Johnson. Watts finishes the race. Landshark closely behind. Felipe Botella finishes the race. Fire Queso finishes. Paul A. Hartman does end up finishing behind Curtis Lee. But a good race result despite the lack of practice. And then Pacheniak is finishing the race electing to finish the race in the pit lane. Interesting strategy. But that is your race result, ladies and gentlemen. Good race all around.
That was a fun one, that's for sure. So many battles that lasted on for a little too long, to be honest, but made for some really entertaining moments, that's for sure. Bunch of trains going.
Choo choo, my guy. So the question remains, who are we going to interview this evening?
We had Michi, Lud F, and Michael Jeffries
Yep, and it looks
in
like
our podium spots.
Dan Cran was the podium for the silver split, and then Lee and Ficker is what it's looking like on my end, but that could be entirely wrong. Entirely wrong. All right, let's see who I can grab and drag up to the booth here. I doubt Michael Jeffries will want to talk, but I'm going to drag him up here and see what kind of mood he's in. Let's see.
Happens.
Michael Jeffries, we're putting you on the spot here. Are you willing to do a interview post-race?
Absolutely. For you guys, anything.
Oh, goodness gracious. You flatter us. Evan, hit him with the sauce.
Dr. Jeffries, we are disappointed in your strategy you chose tonight. You were stuck behind Smalley for, 3.5 hours, clearly faster on track, and you chose not to go for the undercut 40-minute window. You had opportunities forever, and you chose not to take them.
What was
Thank
going
God it
through your
worked out.
head, Michael Jeffries?
Thank God Smalley pitted in front of you and gave you it on a platter. But we were
Well,
saying, Jeffries, Coach Jeffries Academy, you're supposed to be known for making people faster and
The big brain
knowing the
stuff.
ins and outs of racing. You got to work on the strategy.
Well, I kept looking at the map and I kept thinking, if I pit now, where am I going to come out? And I was terrified that I would come out in the middle of some big pack. So I thought, yeah, he's holding me up a little bit, but it's probably better than what I would get if I pit right now. So, I mean, it ended up working out, but yeah, you're right. Maybe next time I should consider pitting a little bit earlier.
No doubt. But regardless, P3 solid finish for CGA or CJ. Oh my goodness.
CJA, Coach Jeffries Academy. We did plug it earlier in the stream.
My man.
Yeah.
Yes, Snetterton. More like the competition needs to get Betterton. Am I right? P3. I ran that race with petrol in my veins and hate in my heart. Hey, listen, the Coach Jeffries Academy tip of the week, practice those pit stops. Whether you pit early or pit late, nailing that pit stop can gain you a position.
And in this race, it's most certainly to
Yep.
execute. Well, that was the legendary Michael Jeffries, ladies and gentlemen. You basically got CJA advice for free, and I can tell you that his program comes at a steep price. So consider yourself blessed. Any parting words, MJ?
No, guys, had a great race. Congratulations to Mert and Ludd, and it looked clean from where I was sitting. So good race, D2.
Couldn't agree more. All right, thank you, sir, and we will look forward to seeing you next. Well, not next week, but next race, because we're taking a break for the holidays.
Okay, I'll miss you. Bye.
What a guy.
I don't think Guy even does it justice. What a legend.
Yeah.
All right.
Congratulations to Jeffries with the podium spot yet again.
Looking good.
Do we have
I have
Blood F?
I have Mert and Michi. I don't know if they want to come up or not. Let's take a gander. Let me try. Mert, this is a post-race interview for your great performance, and they darted out of here. So I think they're being a little shy tonight. So we'll let them go. Let's interview someone else. Someone eager to be in here. Let's see. Here's a personality and a half. Jason Allen. Post-race interview. How the hell are you?
TLC. I have two good races when I continue my my formation lap music routine. It's working out.
So share with the fans of SRA Nation, what music do you listen to pre-race?
So last week, Shania Twain. That don't impress me much. I was in my head. I was singing. I was jamming. And then this week, you got to slow it down a little bit, try to calm the nerves. I want a little Waterfall by TLC.
Oof.
Classic.
That is a good one.
Well, the nerves were definitely calm. You were holding off. I forgot who it was there at the end, but you had two fast boys right behind you, but you stayed in it and kept them behind.
Yeah, that was the only two laps outside of like the first three that don't count. Those are the only two lap that I had someone relatively close to me. I was hot lapping the rest of the time. I have this new mindset that I'm working on during my races. So far, it's working out. So I'm super pumped about it.
Where'd
Was
you
that
learn
based
these?
on the strategy? How do you end up with nobody around you?
Everyone around me did really weird pits. I was racing Colin Shea at the start, and he pit very early, behind my teammate, which was one of my conglomerate mates, which was nice because I got a little assistance there. And then I just stayed out. This mindset of making safe mistakes rather than aggressive, dumb mistakes that get you off track kept me on track. I only had 2 invalid laps this whole race as well. So felt really good today.
Proud of you.
I am too. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, you'll be singing "That Don't Impress Me Much."
Yes,
To
correct.
all your competition this week. Nice job.
Amen.
Cool, brother. Well, any parting words for your D2 fans?
I appreciate all the support that I get. As everyone's favorite steward and manager and Discord moderator, I read all the letters, I receive all the texts, and I really appreciate all of them. So keep sending them, please.
You heard here first, folks. Slide into Jason Allen's DMs. He loves it. All right. On that note, Jason, good luck next time we see you on track. And
Yes.
we are looking forward to hearing, quite literally, what you're going to be listening to pre-race next time.
It's going to be every race. I'm going to stick it in the team chat because people gotta learn, you know.
I couldn't agree more. All right.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
You too.
Wholesome Jason Allen, back at it again. You want to try one more, or you want to call it a day?
Who else do we have in here?
Let's try Land Shark. Let's see. This is a gamble. I'm going to try it.
All right.
Land Shark, post-race interview. I've tried to interview in the past, and you snuck away. Am I going to get your attention today?
Yeah, you'll get my attention. Hello.
Perfect. Welcome to the booth. How was your D2 Snetterton experience?
Okay. Qualifying wasn't what I was hoping to be. But the race was tough. Very, very difficult to overtake. Just try to keep it clean, keep on track, but had an unfortunate incident. It took me back a few spots, but I think I finished what, P29?
Something like that. We did see the little love tap into the braking zone of that after the straight there. That was tough to watch, but
Yep.
overall you managed it well, and we saw your beautifully designed BMW putting up a good fight all night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, your conglomerate member, Michi, takes the dub tonight.
Oh, yes.
How
Yeah.
is Comic Racing celebrating after such a victory?
With champagne, as we always do. No, it's pretty exciting. This is our first uh D2 gold podium because he just got promoted to gold, so pretty great feeling, very obviously very proud.
Good
Yeah,
deal.
no, he had a really good drive, really good quality. So yeah, no, we're very happy.
Good deal. As SRA's most cultured person, we see you're posting fancy food, fancy beverages, fancy stuff.
Yeah.
What are you going to be celebrating with personally? I want to know what's the drink and food combination tonight?
Well, right now, fun enough, the wife made a really good dinner. So we're having that with a bottle of 2017 Scribe Pinot Noir. Highly recommended. Scribe wineries from Sonoma up in California. So
I
highly
knew he would
recommended.
have something ready to go, Evan. I knew he
Just
would.
unbelievable.
He is I envy the life of Land Shark. If you want to be like somebody in SRA Nation, you want to be this guy. I promise.
If anyone wants any wine recommendations, feel free to hit me up. Always happy to share.
The sommelier of SRA, Land Shark,
Yep.
ladies and gentlemen.
I'm taking that title. That's it.
I
For
I
sure.
will make a Discord role for you. All jokes aside, I can't wait for Land Shark's SRA 2K next year to be hosted at his house, so we can have great catering.
Happily have people over. So,
Good deal.
welcome.
Good deal. Well, all jokes aside, Landshark, good performance tonight. Nice job with the conglomerate, performing well. Do you have any parting words?
No, happy holidays, everyone. Looking forward to the break and some more time to practice for the race next year.
Looking forward to it. You get back down to your race review. Enjoy your evening.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Wholesome, as always. Evan, I think it goes without saying that this league is just chock full of like super nice people, man.
100%. I mean, just week in and week out, everybody we bring in the booth is real happy or giving each other congratulations for good finishes. So camaraderie in the league is at an all-time high. No signs of slowing down. Makes for a really good time and great racing on track. These guys are real respectful of each other, that's for sure.
Guys and gals, the girls in the league are increasing every day, which we love to see the diversity in the league.
No doubt.
Cool. Well, like several of our drivers hinted at, there is a 2-week break between round 5 and round 6 in SRA Nation this season because of the impending holidays. So we wish everyone a happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and New Year's Day celebrations. Spend time with your family, your loved ones, and we're going to be hosting some informal events over the next couple weeks. So if you have any recommendations, throw them up in the Discord. We would love to hear some feedback on what you guys want to see. But on that note, we are going to call it an evening here for Division 2. Evan, any parting words?
Been real. It's been fun, and it has been real fun. D2 week in and week out is always a great time, and I'm glad you got a little taste of it, Doug. We missed you up here.
The taste will be lingering on my palate for quite some time. Evan, I can't wait to participate in D2 next season.
Yeah, man, it seems like a great time.
Yeah, you and me, we can take the bromance down to D2. Who knows, man?
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
see. We'll see what the data says after next season. Cool.
yep.
Y'all be good, and thanks for being awesome. Have a good night.
Ding by the dun, ding by the dun, ding by the dun, ding by the dun. for woman, I'm a paperhead.